And we are on YouTube. So the YouTube account that it is feeding to is just Yvonne Arnold, real estate business consultant. And I'm muted, so you cannot hear me, which is good. I haven't done this in a while. It's been a while. Um, and we have participants checking in. So, yay. All righty. Let me do one thing here. I'm going to hide the non-video participants. Andy, when you do yours, do you do it on, is the iPad on the non-video is the,
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. So I can just share now. You could turn me into a non-video
go ahead,
participant to see if it ends up
share it
kicking.
and let's just test it out really quick. Okay, if you guys are getting on, you can hop in the chat and say where you're from, where are you sitting right now? We'd love to know. And also that you can see Andy's screen. We'd love you to tell us. All
I can
right.
still see it, but I don't know if it's
Yeah, I
part of the
can
plan.
too.
Yeah.
So I think that's great. Cocoa Beach. Hey, Barbara. Fantastic. Thanks for being here. Nancy Moore. Very good. Thank you, Nancy. Boston, suburbs. Boston. Love it. Okay. We're good to go then, I think, Andy. Yours is working great.
Okay, good. Let me pull it out of there and
Very good. All right. Welcome, everybody. Lots of people starting to join, so and they're just going to continue. We have a couple of minutes to get started before we get started, so keep coming on. We are live streaming this on YouTube. It's on the Yvonne Arnold Real Estate Business Consultant YouTube channel, so that will live there for as long as it lives. So hopefully we bring you guys some really good content today, and I'm looking forward to this. So, very good. Cocoa Beach, good morning from Clinton, Maryland. Hi, Karen Gray. Thank you. Bakersfield, I love it. From the streets of Bakersfield. Does everybody sing that, Joni? Um, or just those of us that are from the Cali area? All right. And I am going to go ahead. So just so you guys know, chat, you guys can chat. It's open chat. However, if you have questions, please put the questions in the Q&A because that's where I'll be going as I moderate. That's where I'll be going to look for questions. I won't be digging through the chat to check out for questions. Also, all of the presenters will have an additional location after the event. If you have deeper questions you want to ask any of them, make sure that you reach out to them direct, and we'll definitely put on the screen here that as well. So let me go ahead and get my screen up and running. And I'm going to go ahead and share that screen right now. Very good. All righty. So I have my Q&A up. I have my screen up. So that QR code that you guys are seeing right now, if you scan that, you will be able to connect with any of the speakers on their personal landing pages. Just go ahead and once you see their picture, go connect with them direct if you'd like. And okay, we're going to get started. Let's see. Got my technical stuff squared away. Welcome, everybody. I am Yvonne Arnold, and I am your host today, and I'm really glad that you decided to be here. So this isn't your typical webinar. When I had the brainstorm to do this, I wanted people to actually take something away from this where they could actually say, I'm executing the plan, not just building the plan. Okay. So most of you already have a plan because my gosh, how many planning sessions were held between October and December of 2025? I must have gotten probably, I don't know, 50 different invites to go build a plan, whether it was a live webinar or a virtual webinar or an in-person or a mastermind. There was a ton. Today, we're going to do something different. What we know, and the people that I chose were very strategic when I decided I want to get some people on this webinar that can actually are living in this every day to help people systematize, operationalize, build marketing, and get a hold of their money in a way that is a process, right? So we're going to do something a little bit different. Real estate has no shortage of ideas, and we know that because every event you go to, you pick up another 5 or 10 ideas, and then what happens? They don't really always get executed. So it lacks a lot of clarity in our industry, and the clarity is what I want to bring to you today. So it's about giving you more tactics and less things to chase, okay? Helping you understand what deserves your attention right now, what you should probably be putting on the back burner as a wait and see, and what you probably need to get rid of altogether. When you have the clarity and the confidence of that, then that's when you know that that's when you know that you're in the right spot. Today, we're here to create the clarity so that your next move is intentional and not reactive. One of the things that I see so much and have over 16 years of consulting real estate professionals is you're totally emotionally reactive, right? You will jump on things immediately. Somebody gets it, some new shiny penny, some new fiery object, some new thing, and you're on it. So that's a really great thing because we move quickly. We react, we decide, we jump on stuff, we're innovative. But what happens is it costs you money, it costs you time, and usually it doesn't make you any new deals. It doesn't bring any new business into your world. It's just fluff. And I hate that word because ChatGPT uses it all the time. But it is just fluff, right? So when we look at things and we say, what are we going to bring you today? The goal was this. We want to know, we want you to know where your business is leaking money, time, or focus. Understand what to fix first based on your business size, because you guys, that one model does not fit everything. And one of the things I'd love you guys to take away today is that please don't go to another event and watch somebody on stage talk about their model and then try and go duplicate it in your world if you haven't actually audited your own model. Okay. I know Andy's going to talk about this. There are different models in the industry and they're not all the same and they shouldn't be. And also they can all be profitable and super successful. So it just depends on how you decide to do it. Now, we want you to leave today making decisions, okay? Not just sit here and listen and go, wow, that was really good. And boy, Kaylee's really cool. I've never seen her before, and I love Will. I don't want you to do that. I want you to literally leave here with 3 decisions that you are going to implement immediately after this event. So inside the chat, I want you to put down inside the chat, hi, Will. Do you have your voice back, Will? Oh, good. Okay. Very good. I'm going to trust that you do. Inside the chat, I want you to put, how are you feeling about your business right now? What feelings are you getting about your business right now? Are you nervous? Are you overwhelmed? Are you unorganized? Are you rocking it? What are you? Go ahead and put it in the chat. Give me some love here and tell me what you're thinking. Optimistic. I like that. Fired up. Yes. Terry Swanson, you're always fired up, and I love the fact that you're here. Unorganized and need systems in place. Excited for 2026. So am I. Seasoned newbie. Yes. Rocking it and disorganized. A seasoned newbie. I got to think about that one for a minute. Anything has to be better than 2025. Okay, I get it. I totally get that feeling. Okay, we're starting to see a theme. Need systems, but very excited for 2026. You're in the right place, Natalie, for sure. Kevin, excited, need to be more organized. Yes. Ready to kill it in 2026, but need some tools. Good. You guys, you are all in the right place. Nellie, I've been in the industry for 5 years, but feeling like I'm still so new in managing my business. Seasoned newbie. Thank you for just giving me the definition. And 5 years in the business, you're just now catching your stride. So just know that 5 years is kind of that turning point. So you're in the right place. So let me get back to my notes. All right. So we know where you guys are at. So what's interesting about how we're going to organize today, is that when I started thinking about the three people that I have here on today's event, I was like, wow. And somebody said it to me. They said, what that webinar is stacked. Okay. So, and that was exactly what I had intended it to be. And so when we talk about, I'm going to give you a little preview. It's money times ops times marketing, which equals the whole integration. Okay. So what happens when money, operations, and marketing aren't talking to each other? Leaders or agents operate on hope. And we know that hope's not a strategy, right? Hoping and praying that you get a deal tomorrow from something that you just spent $1,000 on and 14 hours trying to edit a video on probably isn't a good strategy. So one of the things that money tells you what's possible. Operations turn the revenue into capacity. What's that mean? It means that you're able to build on that. Okay. So without having to work 24/7, be every position in the team and do it all yourself, if you are operationalized, makes it a lot easier. And then the marketing creates the momentum. The marketing is your fuel. It is what's going to put gas in the engine. It's going to bring all the leads into your world, but then you better have the ability to know how to disseminate that amongst all of these. Did you have the money to spend on that? Are you operationalized to make sure it's duplicatable and it's going to happen again? Okay, so I'm going to start today with my very first presenter, and he is pretty well known already in the industry. His name is Andy Mulholland, and Andy built and operated his own real estate team and brokerage for many years, but he did something that many people in our industry never do. He retired himself from the business profitably. Okay. So, and was able to go travel the country with his family. I know he homeschools his kids. And then he went and bought a farm, which, someday I'll get that whole thing. I'm going to do a podcast with him and get that whole story. And then he came back in and said, I have a I have a talent and a knowledge that the agents need. I am so grateful for him to have come into this industry because we did not have anybody helping agents who understood agents and the real estate business with their finances. So I've referred many people to Andy, and today he's going to take it away and he's going to talk about how the money talks first. And we have to talk about money first. it's a hard subject a lot of times for people. But we're going to do it. So Andy, let's get some clarity around cash flow, and it's all yours. Go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Yvonne, and appreciate you letting me be here. It is a passion of mine to talk about this stuff because for me, it just had such an impact on my ability to live a life that just had a lot more meaning. Time with my family was always the main driver in building a real estate business, but it quickly, like a lot of us and any business we're in, it can take over really quick. And the key piece to that is the financial side of things. I mean, we get into this business, you know, to impact our family, right? It's the big why behind why we do what we do oftentimes. And you know, it can easily just do the opposite. And if we can get control on our financials, it can make all the difference. And I guess I'm a living example of that. And that's why I'm so passionate around helping others do it. I kind of feel like I'm on a big boat and someone's drowning in the water, I can throw that life preserver over because I have one in my hands if we just follow it. And the good news is it doesn't have to be complicated. I used to get so frustrated around my financials because I didn't understand them, because I was getting information from people who were way smarter than me around the financials, and I needed it in dumb Andy language, right? And so that's what I hope to do today, is just to help you put a system in place, because that's what it's all about, a system that works for you to get what you set out to in your business, which was some time freedom, because you have money freedom. Money comes, we can then have time freedom. Now, we may choose with that time freedom to do more deals, but you're choosing to do it, not forced to do it. And I think that's the key here. So I know everybody's excited about the year and has goals around the number of deals they want to do. And if you're like me, it's like more. But more is not always the solution to the problem, right? Growth is only half the equation, and it is a critical half, but it's still only half.
I have to say, I'm going to interrupt really quick.
Yeah.
If you guys are not following Andy right now, he is putting up some fire on online sites and really knocking down the image that we all have, that you have to go bigger, go bigger, go bigger, because he has seen behind those curtains and he's seen the lack of profitability behind those curtains. So I'm so
Yeah.
excited to hear what you have to say today.
Yeah. And luckily, God made me where I don't mind offending people in saying what is truth. And you know, because it comes from a place of love. And so, yeah, working with some of these top teams, I mean, some of our clients are $10, $12 million top line giant operations. And trust me, some of them don't want the business that they have. You won't know that you won't know that from what they may say. So we're going to jump into a system. We can't grow our way out of our problems. Here's the thing: profit is not an event. It's not like a destination. It's not like once we get to a certain point, then we can have that profit, that freedom. It's a habit. And so I'm going to teach you the habit. Just like when we want to get physically fit, the diet becomes the most important part of of the equation, I would say. And we need to just have a system around our diet, right? And so that's what we're going to talk about. So here's the big idea. The problem with normally how we run our real estate business is sales minus what we spend equals what we have left. Right? How many of us get to the end of the quarter, or a lot of times when I start working with you and doing bookkeeping and all that stuff for real estate people, you kind of get to the end of the year and say, that's usually when I look at what I made. That's an issue. So we need to just flip that on its head. So I want you to understand this whole thing and why it exists. Most people run their business sales minus expenses equals what's left, profit. We need to flip that around and say sales minus a predetermined profit equals what I now have left to spend on my business. Do we see the freedom in that? Isn't that funny how when we have a system, it actually creates freedom? When we cage the animal, we actually create freedom. Now, when we want to go to that event and we see that thing we want to buy, it's like, does it fit in my expense model or does it not? I've already pulled out profitability, and we're going to talk about pulling out taxes, but now what I have left, can I make that decision? You can comfortably say yes, or you can say, can't do it. But the stress goes away. And so that's what we're gonna do here. Real estate is your income tends to be irregular. And so we need to fix that problem. We don't want this fake confidence that, hey, I had a bunch of closings this month. I'm going to buy that new car. I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing, invest in that new staff person, whatever it is. That's called bank balance accounting. And we don't want to do that. And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about creating smaller plates, right? Think about this. Have you ever been to a Chinese buffet? Wow, my family loves going to Chinese buffets. But guess what? Isn't it funny how the plates are like these tiny little plates? Why? Because they know what they're doing. They know that if it's a smaller plate, you will take less food and there'll be less waste. You'll still eat the same amount in some cases, but there'll be less waste. And waste is the number one place in those restaurants that eats profit, because they got to pay for that food that nobody ate. And had you not taken it, somebody else could have eaten it. Smaller plate. We need to create smaller plates in your financial world so that you eat less. And eat means spend in your business, because what's the leftover that you didn't eat, just like in that buffet, you get to use personally. And we end up eating it all up in our business. So we're going to create some smaller plates. Think of it like an envelope system, right? And I don't know if anybody's a Dave Ramsey fan. I was. It's the only reason I got into real estate, because I was able to pay off all my debt, and I used an envelope system, certain envelopes for certain things. And then I didn't spend as much in kind of just randomly. It's kind of like if your car has a full tank of gas, don't we operate differently than when it's towards the empty side? We just think differently. Where am I going to go? How much freedom do I have to go this place and the other place? And just think, I want you to remember this. Next time you fill your tank, think about what I'm about to say right now. You just feel differently. And that's what we need to figure out here. So there really are three outcomes of this system that I want you to understand. Three outcomes. A place for your profit that's predetermined, a place for owner pay that's consistent, because then you can live your life and not have these ups and downs of the crazy income and no income in real estate. That's your owner pay. And then three, taxes. We got to have a place for your taxes, right? Because we do not want surprises at the end with that.
Say that again. What are the three?
That profit, owner pay, and taxes. And I'm going to share my screen as to how you're going to do that. But I want you to understand that those are the three main reasons you need to have this system. You could have profit and then every quarter pay yourself profit, but have no consistent income, and your life's chaos. We got to have owner pay as well that's consistent. And then you could get to the end of the year and have a giant tax bill and it just blew up your whole world. That happened to me. I had 2 sports cars in the garage and I had to sell one because I forgot about taxes. I never wanted to do that again. And so you put a system in place. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to share my screen here. And I'm just a visual drawer. I don't do slides and things like that. So I'm just going to share my screen because I want you to understand how this works. There's really going to be, there's going to be really kind of 5 bank accounts that you need to go set up. You probably already have one. Step 1, though, is you need a separate bank account, business from personal. If you don't have that, that's step 1. Separate your money, okay? Even if you're just getting into this business, separate your money. So I'm talking about a business account. You need a business account that all of the income comes into. It's just called the income account. You probably already have this. If you don't, get it, okay? Separate it from your personal. When you have a closing, all the money goes into that account. Okay, after the broker gets paid, and if you're a team, I don't think we have a ton of teams on here, more solo agents. So, your broker's going to take their portion, they're going to pay you, it gets deposited into the account. That's wonderful. But what the mistake people make is now they randomly pull money out for themselves. They randomly pay bills out of all this account. And the problem is we see all this money in that account and we feel really good or really, really bad about the business. And we make decisions based on however much money is sitting in that account. Let's solve that problem. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to go set up, I want you to go set up 4 more bank accounts. Feels overwhelming at first. It's not. Trust me. 4 bank accounts, right? And by the way, if you go to the bank and they say, I don't know about this whole thing, find a new bank. Because this is the difference between winning in this business and not. And so you got to find somebody who's going to work with you, and most will. But what we're going to do is, we're going to set up these 4 bank accounts, and we're going to have one for profit, one for tax, one for owner pay, and one for operating expenses. And if 100% of our revenue comes into this bank account twice per month, 2 times per month, you're just going to build it in your calendar. I do it on the 10th and the 25th in all of my businesses. Any money that was generated in that main business account, we're going to do something with it, right? We're going to first put a predetermined amount in our profit account. I usually, in my businesses, have a 15% of all the revenue that came into my top line account into that business account. The second is taxes. I tend to put 10% in there, and then I put 10% in owner pay, and I put 65% in operating expenses. There is a way to determine what your I don't want you to worry about the percentages at this point. I want you to worry about the structure, the process I'm talking about here, not the amounts at this point. But what happens is when we do this, and twice a month, any amount of money that came into this income account, we transfer. We say, okay, I'm transferring money over into profit, 15%, 10% of it goes into taxes, 10% goes into owner pay. Whatever's left, in this case, 65 goes over here. And now all my bills for the business, my operating expenses, if I have a staff person, if I'm paying marketing, if I'm paying for coaching, whatever it is, it all comes out of here. I've separated. Do you see how simple this is? Like, this is the most simple thing, and it is the most effective thing. And once I've implemented this in my business, it becomes very simple. So basically, what you're going to do is set up these accounts at a bank. So 5 accounts, you probably already have one. You're going to choose 2 days a month that you're going to make these transfers. You're going to transfer them according to what we would call your TAPs. Those are your target allocation percentages. These are mine. I'm just sharing you through what mine are. They don't have to be yours. And you're just going to run that throughout the month. So it's 2 times per month it's happening. That way, your accounts are getting money transferred into them. It's very simple. Then once per quarter, any money that ended up in this profit account, you're transferring out of it to you personally. Remember, I said these were all business accounts. So you're now transferring money to you personally from that profit account, 1/2 of whatever was in that account. So if over the last quarter, $100,000, $50,000, $10,000, doesn't matter, got in there, I'm taking $5,000 and I'm just transferring it to myself personally. And I get to go on vacation with that money. I get to live my life, whatever my lifestyle is. I get to buy an investment property, whatever you want to do. But we're pulling it away from the business in the form of a profit distribution at the end of the quarter. Your taxes get paid at the end of the quarter. Guess what? You don't got to sell your sports car like I did. It's all there waiting for the IRS to take, but you've predetermined it. And then we are also paying ourselves an owner's pay. I usually like to see twice a month. This is going to be in the form of a salary. This is how you live your lifestyle, right? Now, guess what? The downside to this is if you're a new agent and you go make $50,000 in the first 2 months of the year, you're not going and buying that brand new Mercedes. This is going to limit what I call lifestyle creep that is so common in real estate because I had it too, right? Remember those 2 sports cars? That was in my first year because I went nuts, sold 28 homes in my first year. And before that was a limousine driver and, couldn't imagine the kind of money I was making that I'd ever make that kind of money. And I went nuts. And then the tax man came. And so learn to live your life off of this. Here's the last little takeaway I want you to take from this is start with something small. In other words, just start with $100 that goes into profit every 2 weeks, or start with 1% of your revenue when you do those distributions twice a month. Like, just start with really small amounts. Because if you do this too quickly, all of a sudden your operating expense amount, especially if right now you're spending a lot, it'll dry up and you won't be able to pay your bills. So that's the simple system. Now, here's the thing. I'm trying to explain that to you in 20 some minutes. Read the book. Profit First. It tells you how to implement this step by step, but it will change your life and you'll never not do it. I've gone to the point where I actually do it in my own personal life as well. So like when I get paid this money at the end of the quarter, I have the same personal system in place. All the businesses I have, the profit account will just flow into my personal bank account. That then goes into, guess what? A bunch of bank accounts. I have an investment account that I've decided a certain percentage goes in there. I have a fun account. I can take my family on vacation. I can buy the RV. I can buy a sports car, whatever. I have the just the operating expense account, which is where all my bills are paid for our family. And then I have a tax account. I used to have one that was called furniture because we bought a new house and we needed to save for furniture. I didn't just randomly spend. I designed a system that money flows with predetermined percentages. And that's what I want you to understand here. So all the money into a main income account. Twice per month, you're paying yourself a salary out of the operating account. Once per quarter, you get money coming out of your profit account. You're paying yourself in the form of a distribution. And once per quarter, you're paying your taxes. If you operate this way, your money stress will disappear. As simple as this seems. So read the book, implement that system. And I promise you, this business will start to serve you in a much deeper way.
Love it, Andy. Couple of questions. So that got brought up. S Corp, LLCs, how do you address that question?
I address it by telling you to talk to your CPA because I don't want to give you tax. That's all tax strategy, and that's important. You need tax strategy. I will tell you, there's a point where for a lot of you, if you are making a certain amount of money, and again, talk to your CPA at what that amount makes sense for you. But there is a point where it makes sense to start paying yourself a salary, because if you don't, you are paying a tax on a much larger amount. And I actually did a video on this on our website that talks about at kind of that point. But somebody making six figures, 100 grand a year, can save a lot of money by separating into an S Corp and starting to pay yourself like a salary. Here's the thing. You can be an LLC and just be taxed like an S Corp. You don't even have to shift to being an S Corp, but you will save on taxes that way. But again, that's tax strategy. This is a system for profitability that I promise you, if you take the time to implement, it's so simple. Follow the plan and it'll change your life.
And I would add, if you have a CPA or an accountant that tells you as a realtor who's a producing realtor that you don't need any of that, just stay a solo person, you probably should get a new CPA because they're not working strategy with you. So next question, how do you determine owner pay? How much you should take every month and live on?
Yeah, it's a good question. Again, there's more to it in what you should live on and all of those things. I mean, if you read the book, there's a step in this process called an instant assessment, and it's where you're looking back on what you have paid yourself. So you may find that you're paying yourself 45% of your revenue in owner pay, and you may be paying it in the form of salary now, or maybe it's just you randomly pulling money out of your account, or maybe it's all in your personal account and you're just spending the money. But how much did you spend personally? And then what percentage of that was of your total revenue? That tells you right now what your margin is for that bank account, owner pay account. Because here's the thing, you're running Profit First right now. You're just not doing it in a proactive way, in a managed way. So you have an owner pay account and you're using it. We just need to rein it in. Again, this is where I say, go start small. If you feel like your owner pay account is a really high percentage, don't go change it dramatically because you'll run out of money to pay your mortgage payment or your car payment or whatever you have. But step one is, what are you doing now based on your books? What are you doing now? And then let's slowly start to tweak it. Let's go down to 43% personally, and then 39. And then all of a sudden we're at a point where, we can increase our profit percentage because we've decreased our personal percentage. Same with our operating expense for our business. That can start to go down and get a little bit more manageable. So
we used to say,
do that assessment.
You need to know what your monthly net is, both personal and business accounts and expenses, so that you understand exactly how much you need to pay yourself. Andrew says, do you have separate accounts for paying employees and the owner, or is it general payroll account?
It's a good question there too. And so typically speaking, you're going to have separate accounts there. So that owner account I talked about, that bucket, That's a separate account that only money to pay you goes in. And what I'd love to see, what I do is I actually put a larger percentage in that account, same with my operating account, than I actually spend. So if I'm putting 10% in that account every time, I'm only really paying myself like 8 to 9% until I have 3 to 6 months of my salary saved in that account. And then I can start paying myself more because now the market shifts. I have money sitting in that account to continue my consistent payroll to myself, and my life doesn't get disrupted. So that's, in all of your accounts, you should do it that way.
Right.
The name of, yeah, the
I
name
didn't
of the,
realize there was a multiple profit first, but you're just showing a different one there.
yeah, this is the main one. This is like the guy who wrote the whole, and this is the one I implemented. It doesn't really matter. There's one specific to real estate agents. You can get that one as well. The concept's the same. The idea, the process, nothing changes. So keep it simple. Yeah.
Very good. Andy, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
That was awesome. And now, Andy, we have your resources. People know where to find you. You guys are all going to get that after the end of the webinar. All right. Next up. So now you know what to do with your money and where your money's going. Now we're going to talk about where your business actually lives. So Kaylee Kinsella helps agents replace old, unorganized systems with clean, functional operations using tools you already know and probably already pay for. Kaylee built and scaled a 10-person transaction coordination company, giving her direct insight into what actually works. Today, through Daily Ops Trainer, her business, Kaylee teaches agents how to simplify operations, build scalable systems, and reclaim their time. She's going to show you how to turn Google Workspace into an actual operations hub, not a digital junk drawer. So Kaylee, let's bring some order to some might have chaos.
I love that. Thank you so much, Yvonne. Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. I was so excited to see all of the chat responses on there about, I need to get organized. I need to get organized. I need to get organized. And it tells me something about this crowd already. It tells me that you are dedicated to optimizing your business and a level that's going to truly serve you. I love that. It makes me admire you already. And I'm so excited to dive in with you guys. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We're going to do some on the screen. And then I'm also going to do some actual showing you as I'm going along on these tools. Yvonne, can you see my screen okay?
Yes, perfect.
Perfect. Okay. So as we're getting started on this, Google Workspace. Now, if you don't have a Workspace account or you don't know if you do, basically, if you are using an email address that is imthebestrealtor@gmail.com, you do not have a Workspace. If you have abby@imthebestrealtor.com, and you have a custom domain connected, that means you are using a Workspace if you are utilizing the Gmail interface. So the tools I'm going to go over today apply to those who have the Gmail and also those who have the Workspace account. Of course, when Yvonne told me we were going to be doing this over Zoom, it took me a minute. I had to let go of my resentment because Google Meet, of course, is the cousin to Zoom. And I just can't tell Google that I'm actually using Zoom today. So we are going to go over today a few of my top hacks, one of the first things I work with agents on when I'm helping them organize their business utilizing these free tools. Now, shiny object syndrome. I've worked with realtors for 12 years. I know every single one of you has a moment where you're like, oh, I heard about this cool tool. I'm going to go buy it. Oh, I heard about this great tool. I know I already have one that's just like it, but I'm going to replace it with this one because this one will also do my laundry. And then you just grab all these tools, right? And then you end up with all these tools you're paying monthly residuals on and you're not using to the fullest extent that you could, right? So let's talk about some free tools you guys can use. Also, making sure to complement these tools with micro strategies and habits as well to just really work on sustainable daily organization. Okie dokie. Let's start with Gmail. Gmail, right? We love Gmail. It's great. It's your communication hub. It's wonderful. Gmail is for receiving and sending emails and communications, right? Making decisions about what's needed or action items, connecting conversations for next steps. What it's not for storing your reminders via unreading the email that you just read so that you come back to it later so that you don't forget it. Holding your to-dos, being a long-term storage system for you. Gmail's where your messages arrive, but they're not where they should live forever. And that's not where your tasks should be originating from. Should I actually show you guys a little bit? Let's go. Let's go in. All
Yes,
right.
let's go.
Let's go in. Okay. Welcome to my actual daily ops trainer email inbox. Ta-da! So you guys will see, woohoo, you've read all the messages in your inbox. How many of you would love to have that? Sounds pretty cool, right? And it's possible. So this is my actual Gmail, and this is what I wanted to show you guys a few things on here as well. Since this is being recorded as well, I want you to have a way to go back and review and follow along as well. First action item I ever tell agents on organizing your Gmail inbox is you see all these pretty labels over here? These labels are a way to sort communications into the places they belong so that you have a quick and easy place to reference them as you need to. The first label I always tell agents to create, which I'm going to do right here on this little plus sign, is an operations label. Okay. I am a caps person. So I like to imagine that my folder is screaming at me constantly. Not really. But I'm going to create the first label as operations. Now, what's going to go under this operations tab? Let's talk about that. Anything relating, you'll see I have my operations thing down here. I'm going to actually label it a color so that it stands out for us a little bit. So I've got my operations tab over here. Now, what's going to go underneath this operations tab? I'm going to put any systems or system notifications that I would get that are operationally related to my business. Maybe it's Zillow notifications. You get lead notifications from Zillow. Those are something that you need to be aware of and have a quick and easy reference point. So I would go to create a new label, and I'm just going to call it Zillow. Maybe I could call it Zillow leads, Zillow notifications, whatever you'd like. But the key to this is I'm also going to nest the label under, and I'm going to select the parent label. Well, I just created that operations label right here. So I'm going to nest it under there, and I'm going to hit create. Now you'll see I've nested the Zillow leads underneath my operations tab here. The nice thing about this as well is if I want all my operations to be one color, so it kind of stands out to me, it's aesthetically pleasing, I would just go to that label color, and it will ask me, do I want it to label my parent folder as well as the sublabels? Let's do it. Let's do red. It stands out to us. So this is the first thing I always do with my agents' Gmails is we create an operations folder and we go through. Maybe you have follow-up boss, right? So I'm going to nest all that. I'm going to nest that label underneath my operations because it has to do with my business operations. And then I'm going to make sure that it's the same color as the rest of them for that aesthetic cohesion. And I would keep doing this until I have all of my folders underneath this operations tab. The advanced step to this would be creating filters. We don't have time today, but you guys know where to find me if you need help with that, where all of the emails automatically having to do with that label are going to go in there automatically. For now, though, you get to drag and drop them. So if I go into my everything else, oh, look at that, my Zoom reminder for today's webinar. Wonderful. Let's pretend that that was a follow-up boss email that I needed to make sure I had a place to quickly reference back to. I can just click on it. I hold down my clicker, I drag and I drop. As simple as that. So you can manually organize and shift things where you want. I hope your brain is starting to turn because there are other type of folders you could create. To do today. Maybe you have 20 unread emails. You're sorting through those emails and you think, I have to do this today. Put it and manually drag and drop it into that folder, right? Now you're creating yourself a little to-do list and within your email.
I don't know who else didn't know that you could drag and drop into a folder other than me, but I'm like, holy cow. Okay, that was so stupid, but so cool. So thank you.
It's always the small things, you guys. This stuff is not crazy or hard. It's not difficult. It's those small micro habits, right? This is, I wish I could say we were even just.
Thank you, Kat. I'm so glad I'm not alone, Kat.
You're not alone, Kat. Absolutely. This is very common. So we're just scratching the surface here today, right? I wanted to show you also another quick thing that our amazing hostess, Yvonne, had actually asked me to specifically point out. your communications with your team, with your other operations staff. Maybe you work in a referral network where you have a bunch of people that you need to be in a same communication thread. Guys, those text threads, they can get deleted. Verizon can go out at any minute, as we just learned, and things can get wiped, right? We want to keep our phones really specific for our client usage, right? Our operations can rest in a specific area that's already tied into our business operations communication hub. So on this side panel over here, this is for my workspace users.
Okay,
My
before you
at
say
Gmail.
anything, everybody, I want you to raise your hand if you're using WhatsApp for anything. If you're using WhatsApp for anything, raise your hand. So just say yes in the chat. Yes, I use WhatsApp.
Or a Facebook
Yes,
Messenger
using
group.
it. Or yeah, Facebook Messenger group. Exactly. Yes, we have some no's, but lots of yeses. You're never going to use WhatsApp again when Kaylee shows you this. So go for it, Kaylee.
So within Google Workspace, the at Gmail, you're going to have some limitations. Now, it is very easy to migrate from an at Gmail into a workspace. Talk to me about that later. But in this side panel here, you see we have our mail, we have our chat, and we have our meet. These should be defaulted on your Gmail panel. If it's not, you can absolutely make sure that it is show up in the settings section. You can also chat GPT or Google how to find that. So over here, we have our chat section. Now, the amazing thing about our chat section is that, yes, we understand, Gemini. So the amazing thing about chat is that you can do direct messages where it's between you and one other person, and they do not have to be in your workspace. I can have a chat with Yvonne, and her and I are not in the same workspace. Okay. It's all based on the email. So if I wanted to have, and maybe a leadership, maybe it's a referral partner of yours that you guys send leads back and forth, you can also create spaces. Now, spaces is your group chat destination, which is amazing. I'll give you a small example. So this is a daily ops training that I had a group chat with a partner collaborator that we were working on. Inside this group chat, we can have as many people as we want, and we are able to add tasks to each other. We can assign tasks to each other, right? So I can add a task to a space and assign another member of that space to a specific thing. So how many of you have an assistant, a TC, an ops person you're working with, and all of your best ideas come around 9:30 at night, and you immediately grab your phone and you're texting them, and your ops person is like, oh my goodness, go to bed. I am not working. I understand it's important. You got to get it out, but my God, leave me alone. Well, this is a place now that you can go and add all of those thoughts, all of those ideas, all of those things that you need to assign to somebody within your space. So I wanted to touch on the ability to do chat and to be able to create spaces, group messaging very simply within the Google platform. I also want to encourage you, you're not going to break Google. Go and click on things. I promise you, Google servers are very resilient. They will not implode by you doing anything. So go start clicking on things, see what they do, find out. That's one of the best ways of discovering. I promise you're not going to break anything.
So some people will say they keep using WhatsApp because they do it with foreign investor type buyers or things like that and clients. I would just challenge people that you could do it with chat as well, and probably be less spammy because WhatsApp is full of spam. So,
and it's based on their email address. So WhatsApp goes on based the phone number. This is based on the email address. So there really shouldn't be any differences in terms of the usage of it. So yes, WhatsApp is great for, I know, understand international communications. It's very helpful. But at the end of the day, we're making sure that your business operations and your time management is dialed in. So let's train people how to treat us and work with us, right? Making sure that we're always looking at this lens as a CEO. That is Gmail. That is just a few quick things that I wanted to point out with you because we have so many other tools to dial in on, and I want to make sure that I get to all of them within my time frame, okay? Now, you'll see this magical little thing over here called tasks or task lists. The way that I would access it would be on this far right side panel. If you do not see the far right side panel, go down to the very bottom right corner and make sure that the show side panel is toggled on. It's a little mini arrow. You just click on that. And if you need it out of your purview because you need fuller screen, then you can do so. But underneath the tasks, I'm going to go to this blue circle with the blue check mark. Tasks. Oh, so near and dear to my heart, you guys. This is my brain. This is my follow-ups. This is my reminder. What is tasks for? Tasks is for your action items, your follow-ups, things you must get done on a specific day, a specific time. Maybe it's repeatable things. Maybe you need to send a report to your broker once a week, whatever it could be for you. Tasks is not a place for notes, your big projects with lots of details, scheduling meetings. If it requires action, it goes in tasks. And we want to think in terms of your small day-to-day things. Your tasks is really going to be any time that you would go and grab a notepad and a pen. And yes, I know you all have at least 2 coffee stain notebooks between your car and your house. Don't even lie to me. But every time you would go to grab that, you're going to grab your phone because it's an app. And you're just going to click on the app and you're going to add your task in. And then it's going to live update on your computer screen. So when you get back to your office, it's going to be right there for you, nestled right along the side panel for you. And if you guys want to see something extra cool, let me show you this really quick. On this email right here, okay? So this is a wonderful reminder because Yvonne really dials in on her organization. She's so effective and efficient, such a great standard for us. So at the top, you'll notice a little button at the top of every email that you open. It is a little circle with a checkbox that strangely enough resembles the tasks icon. If I were to just click this button, look what happens. It created a task for me with the title of that email. Now, the title of that email may not be exactly what I need to do, so maybe I'm going to change it, right? Maybe I'm going to say, follow up with Yvonne. Great. When do I need to do it? Do I have a specific date and time? I don't have to, but maybe I'll just do this for tomorrow, just so that I'm remembering it. So I'm going to put this for tomorrow. Now, when tomorrow shows up and you go to look at this task list and you're like, follow up with Yvonne, what does that even mean? Well, look at this. Because we created a task out of the email is linked to it. So I could be in my inbox just looking at all the things, right? I go to my task list, I click on where the little email icon is, and it's going to pull up that email, the original email, so you can get your bearings about what the context is of this follow-up. You guys, this is amazing. So small, so simple, but sometimes it's the simplest things that are the most life-changing, right? So tasks is amazing. Another great thing about tasks, how many of you like your emotional support tabs? You have 50 tabs open. I get it, okay? I cannot live that way. But if I wanted to live that way, if you needed to have your tasks resting on a separate space, maybe you just want it out of your email, you're like, it's kind of clogging my email, I need it separate. You have the ability to become full screen, right? Just clicking this button right here, which will turn it into your full screen. Now you can see you can create multiple types of lists. The very first thing that I tell my clients to do when they are working on creating their first task area is I say, just take 10 minutes and write or create as many tasks as you can of things on your brain that you're like, I know I need to do this. I know I need to do this. Little quick things, the little quick reminders, quick things. Take 10 minutes, brain dump it, throw it all in tasks, right? The first exercise we do. So I want to encourage you. This is something that you can do today. Your first action item, create a list. A list will already default for you. It just says like my tasks. Go into my tasks, create all of those little things, grab those 15 coffee stained notebooks and take out all of those follow-ups, to-dos, reminders, tasks, and throw them all in tasks. Now you have a digital, mobile-friendly checklist that will go with you everywhere. This is great for your client follow-up. This is great for making sure you keep a list of maybe sniper clients. Maybe you just met that seller at the post office and she mentioned she might be wanting to list her home in a couple weeks and we're going to need to send her a CMA. All sorts of those kind of things, right, come into play. Tasks. It's amazing, you guys. Isn't it great? Oh, it's so cool. I love it. This stuff is so exciting.
I have a couple of questions for you before you move away from that.
Okay.
So, Maylin has a free Gmail account. She has Google Chat access, but she doesn't have it on the left side panel. Is that a paid account feature?
It should not be a paid account feature. She probably will not have access to Spaces. It may be a paid account feature now because they've just adjusted a few things. I would have to look at her account specifically and make sure her settings are toggled on properly. But that is something. Spaces does not come for the free Gmail, but she should have chat capabilities there on that side panel. So that could be something I'd work with her one-on-one.
Ryan asks, tasks are a great tool, but how do you integrate it with your team? He's currently using Monday.com for operations. Do you assign tasks to admin or team members in tasks?
So what you would do with that instead, here would be the workaround for Monday's a great system.
I have
Absolutely
a little bit of a tip. I mean, Monday, if you're growing a big team, Monday is going to be more robust for what you're trying to accomplish. For if you're running operations and you're running, transactions and all that other stuff on there. Where chat comes in, it basically takes the place of Slack, because now you're going to build those team groups, and you could actually build them inside the Spaces section is what I'm thinking. Would that be right, Kaylee?
Yes, in Spaces, you have the ability to add anyone into your team and assign tasks directly. Those assigned tasks will rest in your Spaces, but also will automatically go on the assignees task list as well. So that is a great way. But my next tool I'm going to show you might be a little bit more Monday-esque and might have a little bit more towards what you are looking to accomplish. So I'll hopefully be able to address that on the next tool.
Go for it.
Perfect. Okay. Great questions, you guys. I love it. So you guys are paying attention. That's exciting. Is it because I'm screaming? Because I tend to scream. Just when I'm excited, though. All right. So let's talk about my next favorite tool with Google is Google Tasks. Think of tasks, Google Keep. Google Keep is your replacement of sticky notes, is what it's most known for. This is more going to be for capturing your thoughts, writing down client details, storing ideas, notes, reminders about structure. The amazing thing about tasks as well is its collaboration abilities. So if you had an ongoing operations projects list, here's a couple ways you can do it. You can do it by typing, right? You can do it by typing. You can add notes in there. You can add all sorts of things. But also, if you needed to, you could also create checkboxes where you have actual checklists. Ready? Are we ready for the dopamine hit? Here it comes. Ready? Oh, one completed task. Feels good, right? So this is a way that you'll be able to share and do multiple things. And you notice there's multiple ways to create labels over here of different things. You could have a label per project. You could have a label per group that you're working with. And to answer the gentleman's question from previously, the collaborator this is where you can add people that will be shared this keep with them, and they will be able to live update it on their end. So you guys will always see each other. I actually tested it with a client of mine, and I was watching her type on my end of the other side. So it's that quick of a refresh. So with this, it's also a good replacement if you guys are Trello users or Monday.com Airtable. It's got a lot of those pieces. Now, when a lot of agents try to put all the pieces and all the tools together to have them work together, there is a way to create more of an ecosystem within Google Workspace that does require a bit of an advanced build out using some scripting and coding and stuff like that. So if we need to talk about that, we absolutely can. But this is great, you guys, especially if I always tell my clients the first keep note they want to create is a sniper client list, right? A sniper list. Maybe it's those buyers that you met last week at brunch and you want to follow up with them, but you just take a quick note in your phone because your notebook's probably not with you. You take a quick note on their phone. You get their phone number. You get their information. They're looking for 4 bedrooms. The wife is pregnant 3 months. So that's something you can remember on your rapport building conversations with them. Any type of notes at all, you can keep those, right? See what I did there? Keep those. Yeah.
Keep. I love that. So, okay, Kaylee, we have to kind of start to wrap it up. I have one more question because this was a good one. And it was, does the tasks or any of these things, do they tie directly to your calendar if you want them to show up on the calendar?
They absolutely do. Let me show you how. So with your tasks, so I went ahead and put this for a follow-up with Yvonne for tomorrow. So if I go to my Google Calendar, the first thing you're going to want to make sure is on this left side panel, make sure your tasks down under my calendars is toggled on. Otherwise, you will not see your tasks on the calendar. So you need to make sure tasks is toggled on. Make sure at the top right that you are logged into the appropriate account. And then tomorrow, you'll see here's my follow-up with Yvonne. There's my task sitting right up here. I can either mark it as completed, I can change the date, I can add a time to it. So let's say I need to do it from 1 to 2. You can do that.
So that kind of answered Bill Butler's because Bill said he needs a task app that will hammer him on the phone with a reminder that I'm able to snooze. So yes, that is the one you want to use, Bill. So, all right. Any of the other questions that you guys may have for Kaylee? She's, I think, going to stay a little longer here on the call, so she'll be answering them in the chat for you, or you can reach out to her actually direct. So, we're going to continue moving along on this rapid fire program. So, all right, I love it. Google Workspace is magical, and I'm still learning a lot of it. Somebody asked me the other day if I would recommend Google Workspace over, Microsoft and all that. And I say absolutely, because I know it's like, oh, because it's small business, real estate agent, business friendly, and so many pieces to it. So you guys, Kaylee is your girl for Workspace. All right. So we have your money is accounted for with Andy. Your files are organized with Kaylee. Now we're going to talk about making sure people actually see you. Okay. So let me introduce. I feel like I'm singing that song. Let me introduce you. So we're going to go ahead and get my screen back up here to present mode. And can you see Will? All righty, and there he is on screen. So our next guest is Will Draper, and Will is a real estate marketing coach and former agent who used social media to go from flat broke to selling over 20 million a year in less than 18 months. I'm sure there's quite a few people that would like to be able to say that. Since then, he's taught thousands of real estate agents how to use simple content systems to generate more leads and grow their business. In 2025, Will's personal clientele and community of agents sold over $1 billion in real estate, and most of them are based and foundationed in social media. So I just think that I have always admired Will, respected Will, and wanted to be Will because he has so much knowledge I don't have. And I said, I got to bring him here to you guys. So Will, here's the deal. We can all agree that systems don't matter if nobody knows what you do or if you exist.
Yep.
And so in this segment, what he's going to do is he's going to make it really simple in a structure so you know exactly how to create consistent marketing that leads to business. For many, many years, we all said social media, and you're going to get somebody to actually reach out to you from in the middle of nowhere that you've never spoken to actually do a deal. It is happening every single day, multiple times a day now. And however, there is a strategy around it that Will is probably one of the best teachers I have ever learned from on how to make this stuff actually work. So Will, let's talk about visibility that actually converts.
Sounds like a plan. Yvonne, thanks so much for having me here. If anybody on the call knows me and maybe has seen me this week, I've been very under the weather the entire week. This is the first day back. I felt like I could actually talk. So if I cough or something on here, I've got my water next to me. I've got like Ricolas, like just bear with me. I've been under the weather all week, but I wanted to make sure I showed up for you here today. And coming into this, I woke up this morning and I'll be honest, I had no presentation planned because there's so many different things to cover. And I was trying to condense it down into the amount of time that I have to make sure that everybody can walk away with here and understand that social media can be very simple. And hopefully in the next 20 minutes, I can show you an easy way to where you can generate leads in your business each and every week without going viral or dancing or doing any of the stupid, pardon my French, shit that you see people doing on social media nowadays. I am the anti-template, anti all of that type of person. So I want to ask you guys a question. Okay. I'll put together a presentation in the past 30 minutes or so, and it's going to be very simple. And I want to ask you guys this question. I want to see you in the chat, right? Does social media feel like it's overwhelming, confusing, or like it's a giant waste of time? If that's the case, give me a heck yes in the chat. Do you feel like it's overwhelming, you're confused, or it's a total waste of time? All of the above. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Yeah, heck yes, heck yes. I see some familiar names in here. Yes. And you know what? You're all correct. It is overwhelming. It can be confusing, and it can feel like a waste of time if you don't have the right process, strategy, and procedure to go along with it. Okay. Now, I am of the camp that we are in a time of information overload. There is so many coaches and trainers and so much social media content out there that you have a bazillion ideas. We're not for a lack of ideas. We're for a lack of execution because there's too many ideas and we don't know which one's going to work, right? You don't know which one's going to work. And we all have the shiny object syndrome. Seems like somebody's got a new magic AI prompt every single day that's going to blow up your content strategy. If anybody's seen that, let me know in the chat. If you're tired of all of the AI prompts to blow up your content strategy that everybody's talking about, say down with AI in the chat, because there's so much information out there and there's so many voices that we really have to simplify our approach. Okay. I call it down with AI. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if anybody's heard the phrase KISS before. A lot of it's keep it simple, stupid. I actually prefer keep it stupid, simple. Some of these simplest content strategy out there are the ones that my clients are absolutely crushing with. And I kind of want to explain what the simplest content strategy is that I'm using with my clients. And yes, I ran a survey at the end of last year, and the clients that I worked with sold over $1 billion in real estate last year. $1 billion. I work with about 22 personal one-on-one clients right now. They sold over $500 million just in those 22 clients. Do the math on that. Okay. And then I have another 150 agents that are in my community that did another $500 to $600 million in sales. And a lot of this is rooted in these principles. Okay. Here's your simple one-page social media marketing plan that we're going to kind of cover here today. One type of content, one weekly lead strategy, and one daily engagement routine. That is it. It is no more complicated than that. Okay. So as we go through the rest of this, I want you to think about what's going to be your one type of content. More on that in a minute. We're going to go over a weekly lead strategy. Most of the time, people focus on posting to social media, but there's a problem when you just focus on posting to social media. That's your first inclination. If you're posting, but people don't know what to do next, there's no point in posting. You're just making noise. Everything I do is with strategy because social media is about conversations. And we all know in real estate, conversations lead to what? Let me know in the chat. Have you ever heard the phrase conversations lead to what? Let me see who the first person is. Sales. Exactly. Conversations lead to closings. Social media is about being social. And that's what we need to put back into being social. We need to create conversations on the platform. I don't care if you go viral. That's not what it's about. Okay. Now, here's just some of my clients that followed these strategies. So Roland, before he started using these strategies, he was selling around $8 million a year in California. Not a lot of money. Now he crossed $45 million a year. Shannon did $400,000 in GCI from social media and YouTube last year. Rick added another $10 million in production last year. Charmaine just had her best year ever, doing right around $25 million. And Isaac, in his first 3 years in real estate, yes, his first 3 years in real estate, doing one type of content with one weekly lead gen strategy, with one daily engagement routine. In his third year of real estate, he sold 80 houses. In your third year of real estate, could you say you sold 80 houses? If he can do it, anyone of you can do it too. Okay. Again, the whole point of social media is to create conversations. It's not to go viral. And it's not to be Insta famous. It's not so you get to speak on stage. Nobody cares. We want to sell more houses because we want to do what? Make more money. Let's be honest. Okay. So my 5C social media blueprint is how we go about creating a system that is going to be simple. Okay. So the first C, and you're going to notice that bottom C is yellow. Does everybody see that bottom C that is yellow? Let me know in the chat to make sure you guys can see that, right? That bottom C is yellow, and it's yellow for a reason, because it's the most important thing we're going to talk about. So you're probably like, well, why are we talking about these first four things? They're not the most important, because it helps set the stage for the most important part that we're going to get to. Okay. So the first C is the clients of who do you want to work with? I'm sure you've heard people say, who's your ideal client, right? When we're talking about ideal client, it's not necessarily ideal client. It's like, what is your niche? And I like to say your niche is never too small for the most part. So when you're trying to target an ideal client, this could be somebody looking in a particular location. It could be a certain client type. So the client type could be a first-time buyer, a first-time seller, somebody downsizing, somebody relocating, somebody that only wants to purchase in a particular price point. They're looking between $1 and $1.5 million. Maybe they're only looking for waterfront property, only looking for condos. Maybe they have a certain situation, meaning they're an investor. They're looking for short-term rentals, right? And then you also have to decide, is it somebody you already know or somebody that you don't know? When you create your social media strategy, there's two types of people in this world. There's people you know and there's people that you don't know. There's no in between. You either know them or you don't know them. So when you create your strategy, you have to decide, what am I trying to do with my social? What's my goal? Is my goal to attract complete strangers, or is it to nurture my sphere? Most people say, well, it's a little bit of both. You really need to understand which one is the majority. Okay. Once it is, you have to answer the question of, what do you want to be known for? Think about that for a second. What do you want to be known for? When I say Yvonne, I think systems, I think profit. Right? When I think of Kaylee now, I'm definitely going to think of Google Workspace, right? When I think of, let's do somebody else famous. When I think of Michael Jordan, what do I think of? One of the greatest basketball players of all time. That's what they're known for. So you as an agent, what do you want to be known for? Andrew, you might think of Jordan's shoes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, why not? So what do you want to be known for? You can't be everything to all people, because on the internet, you will absolutely disappear. Some of the best accounts out there focus on one particular client type, right? So there's an account I followed that is moms helping. What is it? It's moms helping dads become better fathers, right? So it's helping their husbands become better fathers by doing these unique teaching routines, right? It's very, very, very specific. So in the real estate side of things, think about, what do you want to be known for? What is your niche? If you do not have one, you will not grow. Okay. The second one is content. So what type of content are you going to make? Now, there's this post-local content misconception, I like to call it. Who sees all the time that people are like, you've got to post local content, be hyper-local, post local content. Let me see in the chat if you guys have seen that, seen other people talk about post local content, and you're like, what the hell do you mean local content? There's a giant misconception when it comes to that. Yes, all right. And now I'm seeing the yeses roll in. Post local content. Okay, great. You know what? Who on here is a real estate agent? Yeah, every agent is posting new restaurants, businesses, etc. You know what? I don't want you to be a tour guide. I don't care if you know the latest hot coffee shop or the best events in town this weekend. You're a real estate agent. You don't posting local content doesn't mean you have to be a tour guide. Doesn't mean you have to be an influencer in your area. I'm honestly the anti-influencer in your area. You're a real estate expert. I think you should act like a real estate expert. Okay. So when you're picking your one thing for your content, you're going to find one format and you're going to repeat the crap out of it using my 80-20 rule. Okay. 80-20 rule. 80% of your content should be one type of content. You heard me correct. 80% of your content should be one type of content. Okay. Now, the number one types of content that is converting views into hand raisers into clients is absolutely home tours done in a very particular way. The second is neighborhood tours. I think this is one of the biggest opportunities in 2026 because still far few agents don't do enough neighborhood content. Okay. Now, when I say pick one thing, find a format and repeat it, that means pick one type of content, and that is 80% of what you post on social media. Remember the one-page marketing plan? I said, pick one thing. The problem is we're trying to use templates from all of these online template shops and try all different types of content and be influencers with restaurants and all these things. We're real estate experts. You don't have to be a foodie to be successful on social media. One of my most successful content strategies when I was actively selling was doing neighborhood tours while I was riding a skateboard. And I called it Tours on Boards. I went around to different neighborhoods, specifically new construction in my town, target at $700,000 to $1 million in the price point. I would only do neighborhoods, and I did 2 to 3 minute tours of these neighborhoods and then made short home tour videos of the homes in those neighborhoods. That was my entire content strategy. All of the neighborhood tours were done the same way, the same exact format. And aren't you like, Will, isn't that going to be really boring for the audience? No, because you become identifiable. You need to find one format and own it. And you might be questioning yourself like, what is that format? What do you mean? I'm going to go off script right here. And I'm going to jump in and show you a few of the clients that I've been working with and what I mean by format. Okay. So I'm going to jump over. We're going to look at Isaac. I mentioned Isaac earlier. So this is going to be Isaac's format. I'm going to stop the screen really quickly. When you first start watching this video and people on social media and they're scrolling, you've got 1 second for them to decide if they know what your content is about, if they want to watch it. By looking at just the video slide, not the captions or anything else, what would you think this video is about? To me, it looks like it's a home in El Paso, Texas. It's got a gourmet kitchen. So I have relative confidence that this is going to be a tour of a house in El Paso that's got an awesome kitchen, right? If you start one of your videos or pieces of content, and in the first one frame, the first millisecond of the video, if you can't tell exactly what the video is about, you started wrong and it's not going to reach the right number of people. There's a reason his content reaches 10, 20, 30, 40,000 people, and he generates leads every single day because people know exactly what it is, and it's not a coffee shop. It's a house, and he sells houses, right? So this is what I mean by format. Now, I'm going to leave the volume off, but you're going to see he's doing a voiceover on this reel of this home tour, okay? All you see is a couple quick drone shots out front, and then he walks through the house, and he's doing a voiceover. You never see his face on the entire thing. Andrew, you're saying that's interesting. He has that kind of traffic in El Paso. How about 80 closings traffic, right? 50 buyers and 30 listings from only doing this type of content. That is it. This is the only thing that he does. He picked one content format. And the only thing we switch up, we just started recently 1 month ago. It's like, hey, let's get your face in the video because I truly believe in 2026, the more people are going to be able to recognize your face and recognize you and connect with you on social media by seeing not just hearing your voice, but seeing your face and being able to recognize your personality, the more trust you're going to build, right? Dang, that's a large share of the market. You're darn right it is, right? I've repeated this exact content strategy in markets all across the country, and everybody crushes with it. Okay. I just started this new in Chandler, Arizona with a guy named Ben. He just started it 2 months in. One of his videos went for 40,000 views and he had 200 people reach out to him for information on a listing. 200 leads from one video, but he stuck consistently just doing that one type of content for 2 months, and then it took off, and the rest is about to be history for him. This is what I mean by pick a format and stick to it. We're not varying from it. He's not sharing restaurants or things to do or place to go ice skating with your kids. He's a real estate agent selling real estate. And I feel like a lot of times we have that shiny object syndrome and get pulled away from being who we are. Real estate experts, neighborhood experts. We know the local area in terms of real estate, right? We don't have to know where every park is or all the events are and all that crap, right? If you want to, that's cool. There's some agents that do great with that, right? But I like to stick with what works. Okay. All right. Anyway, pardon my rant there. I hope you guys are okay with me ranting right there. We're going to get into some more stuff soon. Okay. The next part of your strategy when you line it out is, what is your posting cadence going to be? Okay. This is where I say the concept is become a TV show. And when I say become a TV show, I mean, if you're going to commit to posting 3 times a week, then post 3 times a week on the same day at the same time. If you're going to commit to once a week, same day, same time, every single week. no matter what platform you're on, they reward that consistency. They see, oh, he hasn't missed a day. He hasn't missed a week. She hasn't missed a day. She hasn't missed a week. They are always posting at the same time. They will push your content to more people if they see that you are a consistent creator. Okay. Malin, you asked, what about the other 20% of the content? We're not going to worry about the other 20% right now. As you're first getting started, you're a 100 to 0 rule. One type of content only, and master it. And then you can start to filter in some other trial things. We can cover that later. Okay. Become a TV show, become that consistent. Okay. The fourth C is cash. Now, ads do give you leverage. And when I say ads, whether it's the Meta Ads Manager or it is simply boosting posts, but doing it the right way. There's a right way and a wrong way to do them. One of my clients who's in Houston, Texas, he also was a first year in real estate. And we decided to make his content strategy all around first-time buyers and new construction. So everything he did, we would show a new construction neighborhood, a new construction home in that neighborhood. And then while he was in that home, he would give a financing tip for first-time buyers. That was his content strategy. The format was the same every time. He was always in one location shooting these videos. And we put $20 a day behind every post that he made. His first year, his entire marketing budget was about $7,500. That's what the total cost was for the entire year. He sold 60 houses. The next year, he's like, Coach, I want to double my business. I said, great. Let's go to $40 a day. And he was like, really? And I was like, let's do it. We didn't change anything else. That next year, he sold 125 houses. Last year, he sold almost 350 houses in the Houston, Texas market by boosting posts. So if anybody tells you boosting is bad, they're wrong. You just have to have the right strategy. Boosting random posts won't do anything for you, but having a ad strategy around your content, especially if you have a new account or you have, let's say you have no traction and you want to get started, it's one of the easiest ways to leverage your content. All right, now conversion. This is the most important thing we're going to talk about because most people create a content strategy to get views and likes and go viral. I don't care about that. I care about conversions because the only thing we're trying to do on social media is get somebody to raise their hand, right? Raise their hand. And there's 3 ways to convert leads from social media: direct messages, lead magnets, and stories. These are in order of importance, okay? So for direct messages, there's cold versus warm. And what do I mean by that? Cold DMs are where you're reaching out to people who might have commented on another local post. That is spam. Do not do that. Warm DMs are when people reply to your stories. They might have commented on one of your posts and then you send them a DM. That's a warm DM. That's a great place to create conversation. I'll tell you more about how to do that in a minute. Lead magnets. If you don't have a lead magnet, you're doing social media wrong. You have to have a reason for people to reach out because right now you have a bunch of strangers and you have you. You have to build a bridge between what they're seeing and then you. What's the reason they're going to reach out to you? And it has to be your lead magnet. And then stories. You absolutely have to have a weekly story strategy. I'm going to share a step-by-step story strategy that my clients have been using recently. It's been crushing for them. Not just getting leads, but signing listings from a simple strategy that takes 5 minutes a day, 1 time a week. Okay. I'm going to give you a guide that has all the step-by-step instructions for it. So all of this, right? Conversion, it's all engagement, right? All we're trying to do on social media is create engagement. Even if you only post once per week. One of my clients, he makes 1 post per week and he closed $28 million in real estate last year, posting 52 times. 1 post per week, because he spends his time in his stories, not curating content, just sharing behind the scenes moment, and then having 1 specific story strategy per week to identify hand raisers. Again, I'm going to share one of those strategies with you. So engagement. Remember, this is part of the daily engagement strategy. There's a concept, I call it the tide riser. Okay. Whenever someone engages with your content and you engage back, they get shown your content. Whoever you DM with is also shown your content. So what does that mean? If somebody likes or comments on your post, they are more likely to see your stories. If you DM with them, they are more likely to see your feed posts and your stories. Right? See where I'm going with this. The more people you interact with on the platform, those people are going to see your content next. So If you know somebody in your community and you follow them on whether it's Facebook or you follow them on Instagram or whatever platform, and you engage with one of their posts, the next time you post, the algorithm will send your post to them to look at. That is how it works. You cannot post and ghost. If you post and ghost, your content will not be as seen by as many people, right? So bonus, this doesn't require making content, right? This is just engaging. So what does that engagement look like? I'm going to give you an easy routine. Take your phones out. Get ready to take a little screenshot of this, okay? I have an Instagram strategy and a Facebook one. For Instagram, this is all you do. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes a day. You go to 10 stories, that's the stories at the top, and you engage with the stories, meaning you drop a comment. You like it, drop a comment, and I say, that's cool. You want to ask a question. You want to create a conversation. Let's say you look at somebody's story and their kid like scored the winning goal at a soccer game. Like, oh, that's amazing. How's Johnny doing this season? That's a question. It starts a conversation. All that we're trying to do is create conversations. 10 direct messages. Anybody that liked or commented on any of your previous posts in the past 24 to 48 hours, you're going to send them a direct message, engage with them. And then you're going to leave 10 comments on feed posts, SOI, local businesses, or ideal clients. Now, it looks like I'm running really low on time. I got a 2-minute warning, so I'm going to skip ahead and I want to share with you a strategy. It's what I call my story funnel starter kit. Story funnels will be the number one way to generate leads on either Facebook or Instagram or email in 2026. I'm going to try as quickly as possible to run through this strategy. I'm going to give you guys the link directly in the chat so you can copy this. There is a training video in this that walks you through exactly how to do it. It takes you about 10 minutes to watch. But the whole goal of this, who's ever heard of the I have a buyer letter? Let me know in the chat if you ever heard of the I have a buyer letter, right? So you send a letter out to a neighborhood. Yes. Okay. We're taking that concept. So what I'm doing is taking old school concepts and putting a new school spin on it. So you're going to take that same approach and you're going to create a story poll. I'm just going to show you the examples here. You add a story to your social media. It says, I have 2 buyers looking in this neighborhood or this city. Here's their last name. You don't have to give their last name. You can make it up. Here's their budget. Here's the type of house they're looking for. And here's the neighborhood. And then you're going to drop a poll and ask if they have heard of anything. Yes, but no, but I'm looking too. That is an easy response, direct response marketing play. Okay. Anybody that engages with the poll, hey, they might know of something, that's a potential listing. Or no, but I'm looking too, that's a potential buyer. Anybody that replies to the poll is a lead that you need to follow and DM with. Now, here's the beautiful thing. This is something you share to your Instagram stories and your Facebook stories, right? I've got 13 different ways to do this with 13 different messages. This is just one of the main ways that we've been using. There is a template in this document that I'm going to throw in the chat for you. It walks you through all the examples and how to do it. The beautiful part of this is now we can take it and turn it into a Facebook post. So we just do a simple text-based post and say, hey, friends, quick favor. I'm working with 2 buyers who want to move into city, and we're trying to find the right place before a new listing hits the market. I want to ask here first. Same information, drop your name. Simple Facebook post. You're not creating content. You're just copy, pasting, and filling this out. There's no picture, there's no image, there's no nothing. And then we send an email. The email is basically going to say the same thing. You're emailing your entire database, asking them the same question. So what have we done? We took one concept and we shared it as a Instagram story, a Facebook post, and an email. One of my clients sent out this last week. He has, I think, about 1,500 people in his database. He said about 1,000 of them are crap leads. You know, people that registered from pay-per-click or something like that. Who has crap leads in their database? They have no clue where they came from. Almost everybody, right? Well, from that email going out, he had 2 people reply back. It's like, hey, I don't know anything in that area, but what would it take to get my home on the market next month? He signed 2 listing agreements last week. Had 2 people that were ready to go. He had no idea they were ready to go. But this email reminded them that he's active and he has buyers working with him. So this does 2 things, right? It lets people know that you're busy. Everybody's got a client looking for something, whether it's now or 6 months from now. This allows you to market yourself as busy and also show sellers that, hey, I've already got buyers that I'm working with. I might be able to make a match here, sign 2 listing agreements, and has somebody under buyer agency and is already shopping with, because like, oh, that's right, I almost forgot to reach out to you. I'm about to start shopping. Let's get together. 3 clients from 1 email that took them 5 minutes to write. This is one strategy that you run in a week. Like I said, I've got 13 different ones. So you can run these one strategy a week for 3 months, repeat. You never have to think about how to generate leads again. There's a bunch of facts in here. I know I'm out of time. There's a whole training video that you guys can watch later that's going to be, it's going to explain the entire process for you. It's super easy to create. This doesn't require you to create any content whatsoever. If you don't post at all, you can still do this in your story. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to throw it in the chat really quickly. You do not have to sign up. You don't have to give me your email address. This is a free link that you can bounce right to, nothing required. And also, I'm going to give you a second resource. If you're like, I don't know what to do with stories, I have a whole guide that shows you exactly what to do that includes a couple more of these lead gen strategies. I'm going to pop that in the chat as well. Do with that whatever you will. I was short on time. I could talk for hours on this, but I'm out of time. So back to you, Yvonne. You're on mute, Yvonne.
I could listen to you for hours. So I mean, there's so much there. And one of the challenges we all have as coaches and consultants and knowledge brokers is that we want to fire hose you with everything all at once. And we have to be careful around that. So all of the things that Will has shown you, his slide deck, and the things that he's offering at no sign up, no nothing, he's putting in the chat. We also are going to include in the email with the recording and send it out to everybody as well with slide decks. So awesome. I have one question. Will, what is your strategy? This is all, we know it works. You have proven it. You've proven it with your clients. What's the one way that you would recommend getting it done and tying it to, again, a lot of this doesn't cost a lot of money. So when we talk about the money part of the triangle, $20 and they can join you and you can teach them how to do it, post it and boost it the right way. The organization part, a spreadsheet, a plan, a strategy through Google, whatever. And then calendaring. How do you recommend taking something and actually executing on it? One idea.
On executing one idea. All right. So one, it's getting really clear. I think my second slide was talking about, it's a 1-page social media marketing plan. You have to figure out, okay, what's the one type of content I'm going to make and that's it. Right. And say, if it's going to be, am I going to be the neighborhood expert or I'm going to be the home tour expert? I'm just going to use those for example and say,
pick
okay,
one
that's
thing.
it.
Pick one
thing. And then schedule time in your calendar. You time block it every week. That's when I'm going to go execute that one thing for the week. For me, when I was doing it, I did it from Fridays from 9 to 12. I spent 3 hours every week executing my entire content strategy, and that was it. I wasn't doing it every day, but in my prospecting time in the morning, right, from 10 to 11, I would actually go on my computer and I would engage with people on Instagram and Facebook. And that was my entire routine. All I did was time block it. It was very simple. I used Google Calendar. I put a time block on there, and then I had a task list inside of my Google Workspace that I just checked off. And it was just rinse and repeat. The problem is success comes from the boring. It comes from the monotony. And the first couple of months I was using that strategy, it's like, man, I'm just doing the same thing all the time. Is anybody actually watching or enjoying this? And then lo and behold, like the business just started rolling in and it just
You know what I
snowballed.
think when I hear that? I always think of, and I love cooking and I love food, and I think of the movie Julia and Julia. Julia and Julia. And if you watch the movie, it was about Julia Childs. And this gal, Julie, decides in New York, she's going to cook out of Julia Child's cookbook every single recipe for 365 days. And she's going to blog about it back in the day when there was no video and all of that. And she says in the movie, I don't even know if anybody other than my mother is looking at these blogs. And it ended up becoming a full-blown movie that she was then paid for the screenplay and the book. So again, you never know who's watching.
It's funny. You say that yesterday. I got a call about 2:30 in the afternoon. I usually rarely answer my phone because I'm usually pretty busy. I was in between calls, and it was one of my clients. And his name was Christian. He's in Birmingham, Alabama, right? So not the sexiest place. It's not San Diego or LA or these other things. And he started doing this content strategy, a couple months ago, just following exactly what I said. And he was like, "Hey, I was in a listing. I was filming it for next week, and an agent walks in and is like, 'Oh, there's Mr. Home Tour Kelly right there.'" And then the clients walk in. They're like, "Oh my God, I follow you on TikTok. Like you showed me this." And then another agent came in and said the same thing. Come to find out, uh, the clients they'd never seen this particular house that he did a video on. They already had an agent, but they saw his video, reached out to their agent. They bought the house because they never saw it on the MLS, and they were going to sell their house. But they said, "We want Christian to come do our house for his TikTok." And he was requested to go do their house for their TikTok and put that out there. That house sold, and now they're going to be starting to send him referrals and stuff for their friends that are looking now because he was the one that exposed them to all of this. So that reciprocity. Oh, Kathy,
There you
he's
go.
in your office. That's great. That's great.
I love that.
But he's like, people are just seeing me. He goes, "You never know it's working." And it's like people saying they're seeing their clients are seeing me. He goes, "It's just a matter of time before they just start skipping their agents and coming straight to me." And you're absolutely right. Like you have to be consistent. One of my first clients I tested this with, it was 6 months before he had somebody that wanted to work with him. I'm giving realistic expectation. It was 6 months of his consistent plan. But between 6 and 12 months, he picked up 367 leads and put 18 people under contract at
Wow.
$1 million a piece.
Wow.
Because when you find people for the first time with that content strategy and you post 3, 4, 5 videos, nobody trusts you enough. You're not on the awareness consideration set. But if they go to your page, like, "Man, he's been posting like this for forever," you go from awareness to consideration.
That's right.
Right. And then they're following along on the journey. And then they follow
That is
along in the
right.
stories and they go from awareness consideration to trust and outreach. Right.
Love it.
Because they follow along. It's that consistent play over time. So it's figure out what your strategy is going to be, stick to it and blindly follow it and just
It's on all of this. It's the money, it's the marketing, it's the operations. If you have to stick with something, you have to learn something. But I think all of us are basically telling everybody today, take it down to the simplest. Pick
Mhm.
one thing, and we're going to get to that shortly in the rest of the event here. And we're going to do a little audit of our own businesses and some decisions that you guys are going to have to make. So, Will, thank you as always. Always something good. And you're going to post some of that stuff you said in the chat. So I
It's
know
in the
that
chat. If
after
people scroll up, you'll see it in there.
it's in the chat. So if you guys scroll up in the chat, you'll see it. And then also we're going to pull it off and also send it out in an email to everybody who registered. And I know, Will, you need to go get well and get rid of that nasty virus. So if you have to leave, that's okay.
Hey,
It
it
was put
looks
in the
like as
chat,
I
but
post up,
it only went to
it says
hosts
I
and
can only go to
panelists.
hosts and panelists.
Oh, okay. So you have to repost it.
It won't let me go to the
Okay.
whole group.
I got it. I got it.
I was just going to say that. Well, I said it came to me.
Copy everyone. Here it comes.
All right, there's one above that too, which is
There's
the
one
full
above that
strategy.
one.
Yeah, the story funnel starter kit. That's the main one everybody needs is the story funnel starter kit.
Got it.
Everybody with these pro otter plans, upgrade, it looks like.
Yeah. Or just
All
get
right,
rid of them.
that
You
last,
guys never go back to them anyways. Just get rid of them.
Yvonne, you posted the same one.
I did.
Yep.
Christine, please find those and post them when you can. To
Yeah, the
everyone.
link is story funnel starter kit. There we
Okay.
go.
Christine will find them and then she'll get it.
And you're right. I'm going to unmute myself and rest.
Go rest and take the weekend, get some more Ricola on there. And thank you so much for sharing yourself and your knowledge. Really appreciate you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, you guys. You have now the base knowledge. You have what you need to actually really execute on the plan that you guys built in December or whenever it was. You have the knowledge of money, you have the knowledge of operations, and now the knowledge of marketing. And what usually causes this process of execution to break isn't your lack of knowledge, because you guys are showing up and you're getting it. It's taking ownership of how it's going to actually happen. So, one of the things that I'm going to talk about today is just that. So let me get over here and set up my system so that you guys can see this. Many of you already know me. This is me. I've been around many, many decades. And over the last 16 years, I have helped a lot of agents build out their ops, their operation systems, processes, profits, and systems, right? And people. So the reason that I did it was similar to what Andy did. Why he did it was because I got tired of watching people struggle and then end up dying broke. And there's no reason for that in our industry. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk a little bit about the OPPS in the integration glue. Okay. So when we talk about integration glue, this is what I mean by this. If these parts of the business, they don't dance with each other, then the humans break down. Okay, so humans don't get to dance either if these aren't dancing together. So if your business feels chaotic, fragile, harder than it should be, and put in the chat if that's kind of where you feel right now. You're feeling a little bit like, why is this so damn hard? Okay, yeah, exactly. I'm seeing that and I hear it and I know it. But here's the problem. It's not a market problem. Everybody wants to say it's a market problem, okay? It's really not a market problem. It's a take ownership problem. So ownership isn't about your title. It's not about working harder. And it's definitely not about being the best at the work that's done. As you have seen and probably around you, the people that are actually getting deals, the kid in, you know, wherever he was, Arizona or whatever it was, that did 80 deals from just posting consistently every single day, and doing the same thing, that was taking ownership of one thing and not being distracted by everybody telling you you have to do everything. All right. It means working on the structure, taking the responsible part of structuring and not just about the results. So most people say they own a business, but what they actually own is just a job with overhead, as Andy was talking about. Because when we start looking at the back end of these businesses, you guys, they're really, really ugly. And it's the saddest and the worst part about what we do. And when we start seeing that, we have to really kind of decompose this whole structure of what somebody has built. So you can't outsource your ownership. You can't delegate, that's a tough word. I can't delegate the clarity around it, okay? And you really can't scale what you refuse to stabilize. So when we talk about operations, people, profits, systems, we're talking about if you ignore one of them, the others eventually crack. If you overbuild one, so let's say you go deep in your marketing and you overbuild it. Well, what's going to happen to everything else around that part of it? So when we say overbuild marketing, you go deep in it because somebody told you you've got to post everything and they're not giving you the advice that Will just gave you. Well, you create the imbalance of the rest because usually that marketing is going to cost you a bunch. You go and hire a bunch of people to do it for you. Now your profits are tanking. There's no system in it, so you have no oversight on what those people are actually doing for you. So now you can't measure what you're not tracking. So it's complete imbalance. Ownership means that you build these that you don't build these accidentally, okay? You build them deliberately. It's the nervous system. If you think about your nervous system in your body, all of these things the nervous system and the ownership is what that nervous system is. And if anything goes out of whack, all of these will fall apart. Now, what actually happens when a lead comes in? I want you to think to yourself, this is operations. If we look at what operations is, because most people don't really understand what it is, it's what actually happens when a lead comes in, a client says, yes, I want to work with you, something goes wrong, and you have to fix the problem. The ownership of that operations means that, is it repeatable? If a lead comes in, does what you have built and taken ownership of on repetition, okay? Is it documented somewhere? Have you dumped it out of your head yet to actually be able to then what? Delegate it, right? And can someone else run this without you having to jump in to fix the problems every single time? These are the questions you should ask yourself. Now, if the answer is no, that's not a people problem. That's an ownership issue. So if you're micromanaging, then you're not really being an owner. Strong owners are very clear. They are clear on the people you hire. Generally, seriously, when we start getting into the people now, the people you hire, they want to please you. They do. They come to you and they say, I want to work with that person. That person's got it going on. And they want to please you. But they don't fail because they're lazy. They fail because your expectations are vague. Their roles that they're supposed to be working in are super blurry, and success isn't defined. So, who actually owns the role of transactions, of marketing, of agents? Who's owning that role? Okay, what is the role? Do you have a good look at what that role is? Have you assigned the decision rights? So if you assign leads to an agent on your team, are they aware of and do they understand it's now their right to decide what to do with it? You have to, and you've trained them to do that. If you have a transaction coordinator, it's their job and their right to design how that's going to happen based on your guidelines, because it's your business. You define what good looks like. You assign those decision rights. If everyone needs you to decide everything every day, you didn't hire wrong, you built wrong. If they're sitting there like little puppy dogs waiting for a treat at the dinner table for you to tell them what to do next, you didn't hire wrong, you built wrong. Now, profits. As Andy taught us today, revenue is really noise. It's that sexy number. Everybody wants to tell you about GCI and volume. Everybody wants to say those numbers because they're big, they're sexy. However, profit is truly the truth. Profit tells you whether your decisions are working, and the ownership of it means you know your numbers, you understand your margins, and you don't confuse cash flow with success. So how much will it make or cost for people, for marketing, and for lead gen? These are really basic things that you need to know. If it costs you to buy Google Workspace to bring all your operations together into one place, then you probably should spend that money. If you are spending dollars on marketing, if you're boosting for just the sake of boosting and you don't have a strategy around it, that's costing you money. Okay. So if you're busy right now, but you're broke, then you're growing. What we see a lot in teams, they grow fast, but it's stressed growing. It's not really profitable growing. It's broke growing. Okay. So it's a situation where you have to analyze what you're trying to accomplish. Now, systems. They're not fancy tech. Okay. So I talk a lot about the technology that is out there for us to use. There is tons of products. listed Kit AI as my newest, latest, greatest find. I love them. I've used them myself for my own transactions. It's an AI transaction coordinator, transaction management system. I love fancy tech, okay? However, systems are the agreements that actually hold together the systems, okay? When will it be accomplished? It's the agreement of when will this be accomplished? I have a VA. I have an agreement with her. I need this done. Here's the deadline. I put a date on it. I know so many agents that have people that are working for them. And like I said, they want to make you happy. However, they complain about those assistants and those TCs and those admins and those VAs because they aren't getting the jobs done. But you never put a deadline on them and you're not overseeing them. I call it the big eye in the sky, right? You don't have a system where you can see what they're working on and check in. So you need dates, deadlines, and agreements. And ownership means you stop saying, I'll remember to do it. I'll fix it later. I'll just handle it myself. That's not the way to do the business. Systems are going to reduce your friction, they protect your energy, and they turn your effort into leverage, okay? Ownership just means that you're going to stop doing everything yourself. And then you're going to actually take the time to work in your business, not on it. Will said something really good. Will said, you have to block that time out to make sure that it gets done. So how many of you in the chat, tell me right now, how many of you in the chat say yes or no, actually do a GSD, and those of you that know what that means, get stuff done, a time block, anytime during the week. Usually it's a 2 to 3 hour time block. Who's actually blocking their time? Where they actually are working on these kind of projects, where you're going to sit down and do the funnel that Will just taught you, that you're going to sit down and go and work on getting bank accounts set up. If you haven't, I see a lot of no's. Kevin, thank you. Started this year. Hey, you're what, 16 days in? I love it. Okay. Hang in there, right? So this is the part that becomes, I'm kind of like, don't shoot the messenger, okay? I am that messenger. And so I'm the one that basically tells everybody what they don't want to hear. Everybody else, you know, they talk and they go, wow, this is really good stuff. Oh, here comes Yvonne. Okay, so, but I want you to know this. When structure is optional, execution fails. When execution fails, the business fractures. Everybody in this industry, everybody on this call, including myself and Kaylee and Will and Andy, we've all felt the business fracture. It's one of the driving forces of why I do what I do, is because I want to help people not have a fractured business, because I've seen what happens when that execution doesn't fail. It actually works. Okay, so here's the shift every business owner, everyone on this call needs to make. Stop asking, why isn't this working? Stop asking that question. Why isn't this working? Start asking, what did I allow to stay unclear? Because you're allowing it to be very unclear and you're not getting granular on how you want it done. That's why you keep asking, why isn't it working? Ownership isn't harsh. It's empowering. When you know what you want done, you've brain dumped it out of your head, you've put it somewhere and then delegated it to somebody else because you really wanted to take the weekend off and not build out that funnel. Okay? It's empowering, but not only to you, it's empowering to the person you delegated it to. You gave your trust to somebody to execute something for you that's going to benefit your business and eventually benefit them. So, because once you take responsibility for the foundation, you stop being reactive and you start being intentional. That's when the business stops running you and starts supporting your life that you built it for. Now, I'm going to do a little audit with you guys right now. And this audit, I want you to take out pen and paper, wherever you want to write this down. but I want you to be really honest. It's the 5-question business audit. Super easy. Number 1, your systems reality check. If I disappeared for 2 weeks, transactions would still move forward without chaos. It's a 0 if that would not happen. It's a 1 if it's a maybe, and it's a 2 if absolutely yes. My transactions would still move forward without chaos if I just disappeared for 2 weeks. Now, I have a certain special place in my heart around this. I love this. Thank you for answering in the chat. Love it. Okay, so we have a couple of maybes. A 1.5, I'll take that. I have a special place in my heart around this specific question. Many of you know I had open heart surgery 2.5 years ago. It was completely unexpected. I do not have heart disease. I do not have blood pressure problems or cholesterol problems. I was 58 years old and I randomly, miraculously got diagnosed with an ascending aortic aneurysm. That was 5.5 centimeters, and at 5.5 they do surgery, and at 6 you could die, basically somewhere between there. I didn't even know I had it, and I could have dropped dead. Now, the reason that this question of if I disappeared for 2 weeks, transactions would still move forward without chaos came very, very real to me. So if you were to leave your business for an unknown reason, is your business set up that it would still send you a paycheck? That's the question you need to ask yourself. That's what I love helping people with, is making it so they are not, as Reggie Jackson said, the straw that stirs the drink for every single deal that gets you a paycheck. Okay, so this is why we need to really pay attention and get real with ourselves. It's for that reason. I was able to walk away for 4 months. My income stayed the same. My business stayed the same. My life kept going. Thank God, right? Number 2, the time value audit. Andy addressed this quite a bit. Most of my week is spent on $1,000 per hour tasks. That means strategy, negotiations, price reductions, appointments for listings and buyer showings and contracts and growth of your business, not the $10 an hour tasks. Yeah. Thank you for answering. 0 if you cannot say that, 2 if you absolutely can. The next audit question is people leverage test. I have support, VAs, TCs, freelancers, partners, teams, handling tasks that don't require me. Judd, is that the last question? You have people that support you, that don't require you. They do your stuff. Trish, 2s. I love seeing the 2s, you guys. I love seeing the 2s. So guess what? If you answered 1s or 0s on the previous questions, guess what you're not utilizing these people for the correct way, right? You need to be utilizing them more. Profit clarity check. I know my real profit, pay myself intentionally, and separate profit from expenses and cost of sales. 000s. Oh no. Joni's blocking out time next week, and she's going straight to the bank to set up those accounts. I love it. This is super important. You guys, do not stay in a place that Andy talked about where you don't know your money. Scalability. More business would increase profit, not stress or chaos. If you got 5 more listings right now today, if your marketing paid off and you got 5 more listings and went on 3 more buyer showings and you got busy, would it increase your profit but without increasing stress and chaos? Or would your stress and chaos go through the roof? Would you be like, holy crap, I have no idea. I need to hire agents. I got to bring on some more agents because everybody wants to bring on agents, right? However, the problem is not with the the people of the agents, the licensed agent side. The problem is the operation side usually. So tally it up. What are your totals? Quick interpretation is 0 to 4, you're capped off. Effort is max and structure is not. You need structure first. You need to do the deals that you can do and take time blocked out to build what Kaylee talked about, build what Will talked about, and build what Andy talked about. If you're 5 to 7, you're leaking capacity. It means growth is going to hurt. Okay. You might have some of the parts, but growth is going to hurt. And if you're 8 to 10, you're positioned to scale without breaking. Go for it. Come and see me. I'll help you take it way up. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is the decision lab. This is where you guys get to make decisions. This is the end of the call, and I want you to stay until the very last minute because this is why you're here. You're here to commit to actually executing on that plan that you wrote, to get something out of it that's going to bring absolute profit, joy, and a pleasure to do this business and not have it feel so hard. Okay, so I want you to write down your decision number 1. Decision number 1 is this week I am stopping what? Write it down. You see, before you decide to build what you're going to build, you have to decide what you're going to stop. What activity, what tool, what obligation is creating work but not leverage for you? What would immediately get lighter if you stopped doing it? Do you know why this one works? It's because it protects your capacity before you add something new. Most people skip this part. Most people just go, I'm just going to add another thing. I'm going to pile it on, man. You're going to stop procrastinating. Ah, yeah, that's the devil, right? Wasting time, procrastinating. What's your biggest time suck? How about your social media? How about death scrolling, they call it now, right? Stop death scrolling. Put your phone down. Well, you can't stop your 2-year-old. Okay? So the 2-year-old, they're going to do what they're going to do. It's chasing squirrels. Yeah. Social media. Exactly. Time suck. Exactly. Now, decision number 2. The one system I will stabilize or document next is. What is the one system you heard today? Several ideas. And you also in your gut and your head know exactly what you need to do right now. What's the one system that you need to stabilize or at least brain dump it out of your head so that someone else can be delegated it and they can do the work? Yeah, 4 bank pillars. I love that. Set it up. Google Workspace. I love it. Yes, Robin. Financials, content strategy. You all know what you need to do. Now you're writing it down because what does the statistics say? You can read it, you can watch the show, you can go, wow, that was great. You can listen to it, but until you actually write it down, commit to it, and then tell someone else you're going to do it, and then tell them to ask you in a week if you did it, right? More consistent YouTubes, financials, content strategy. Love it. Decision number 3, your final decision for the day. By date, by a certain date, I will decide and or delegate X. What does that mean to you? If everything requires you, you don't own a business, you guys. You're the bottleneck. What decision have you been postponing because it feels uncomfortable? Is looking at your money one of them? Is hiring somebody to help you with this? Hiring a coach? Hiring a consultant? What decision have you been postponing? Hiring a VA because it's uncomfortable. Well, I don't know if I have enough money for that VA. Well, then that tells you step back and go figure out your money and then get a budget and determine to hire that person and then put a deadline date on it. I'm going to make sure I have the money to do this by the end of the first quarter. So what do I have to do? I got to go hustle and close a couple more deals, throw that money in. Don't spend all my money. It's the uncomfortable truth, right? So you already do this well. You're already committed. You showed up here. Okay. You don't need any more ideas. You need fewer decisions made on purpose. And what I hope all of us told you today was how simple we can take it down to. Take it down to the simplest. So put in the chat if you guys have made your decisions, you have them written down. Love it. And lastly, today we gave you your money a system, your operations a home, your marketing a plan, and your business an owner. You can go ahead and shoot that QR code right there. That's going to take you to the landing page that has all of our contact information. You'll also be getting an email, as I said before. I'm so happy that you guys showed up today and we're here present.
You know, Yvonne, they could also put in all the questions.
Sorry, I got distracted by a phone number, phone call. Go ahead, Kaylee.
I said you could also, I know you were doing your audit questions and those are phenomenal. You know, they could also put them in their Google Keep. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Love it. And create tasks and add them to their calendars.
With due dates.
With due dates. I love it. I love it. All right. So you guys are going to get all this. There's about 50 of you still on the call, and Will and Kaylee and I are still here. If there's any questions that we can answer for you, we'll spend another 5 minutes or so, 5 or 10 minutes. And then you guys can connect offline. So go ahead and put it in the Q&A or in the chat if you have any questions. Will we be getting the Zoom recording too? Yes, if you registered, you absolutely will because we have your email address. So we'll be sending that out. I'm so glad that you guys have made some decisions. Such great information. Glad I scrolled Facebook this morning. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known about this. I'm glad you did too, Joni. Thanks for showing up. Great. So any last words, Will or Kaylee?
Keep it simple and execute. One thing. I'm telling you, like, social media is simple. Focus on what clients are looking for. When they're researching where they're gonna live, what are they researching? They're researching houses and neighborhoods. Why focus on any of the other bullshit, right? Like, if your ideal client is relocating to your area and they have kids and schools are important to them, okay, focus on only the neighborhoods and the homes that are gonna be applicable to that client. And what you create, you're going to attract. I had a client that was in Scottsdale, Arizona. He had a price point that's under $400,000, and in Scottsdale, you know, that's like pretty awful, like terrible stuff. He was like, "How do I break into the high price point?" I was like, well, "Let's just make all your content focused on what price point do you want." He's like, 1.5 to 2.5 million. I was like, "Great, all neighborhoods, all houses in that price point." 3 months later, gets a random DM from somebody coming from LA to Scottsdale. Hired him. They bought a house that weekend, referred him to another friend, got a $3 million listing, bought another $2 million house, and in a matter of about 3 or 4 months, did $10 million worth of production on 3 properties, all because he only focused on that price point. You will attract what you put out. The number one thing I see is I'm posting but not getting any leads. It's because you're posting what's interesting to you and not what's interesting to your ideal client.
That's right. You have to know what the consumer wants to see. And if you're just posting like what somebody's telling you to post from some random place, then that isn't what the consumer really is interested in. So
Yeah.
that's what makes what Will does convert, because
And
he's got his finger on the pulse of that.
there's something I'll just like throw this out there. There's different types and levels of leads on social media. Okay. We've all heard of funnels, right? Like lead funnels, like top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. We all understand that concept. If somebody comments on your post, that is not a bottom of funnel lead. That is somebody you are just entering their awareness of, right? That is not usually going to convert. You're only going to convert them if you get them off of the feed and into direct messages, which is that direct back and forth communication. And here's the number one thing that will quadruple the amount of people that respond to you. Send a video response directly in your DMs, record. The number of times I do, be like, oh my God, I can't believe you actually sent me a video. It's you. You're not a bot, because everybody thinks you're a bot now.
We've been saying that forever, because,
Send the video.
online leads would come in and they really truly, and you felt it. You got treated like you were inhuman, right? You were not human, because they don't think you're human. Now it's even worse because of AI bots, and they're getting so good, right? So the video text is absolutely the golden clinch. It will convert. And so, yes, I love that. Here's a couple of things. I need all three of you in my life as a personal coach. Thank you. Well, all three of us are independent contractors, consultants, have our own companies. So does Andy. You can totally reach out to us, and we have all different programs for different people and different levels. Thank you, everyone. I'm currently using Close as a CRM and Monday.com. Would you switch to one system that does both? That is a deeper conversation. Ryan, please reach out to me. I have lots of data, and it depends on what size model you are and who you are and what you're trying to accomplish. Will, best for personal Facebook or best business Facebook, or both? Good question.
Business, personal. Your business Facebook, which should be only used for running ads. You're not going to get really any engagement or reach on there. Use your personal Facebook. So everything I'm talking about should be going to your personal, not your business page. Your business page is only for running type of lead generation ads.
I was going to say
that is
the business page runs the ads, because you cannot run ads from your personal page.
Yeah. Personal. All your content goes to your personal. You are a person, right? Personal Facebook, 100%.
Love it. Kaylee, if somebody were going to get off of a project management product like Monday or Trello or something like that, what is the product in Google Workspace that they would be working in? Would it be Drive? Would it be, what would it be?
It's actually going to be a combination of several of the Google Workspace tools. And what a lot of people don't know is there is a Google coding language called Google App Scripts, where you can actually code all of the tools to do different things and automate with each other, which is essentially what Monday.com is, Airtable, Trello, all of those common things that they're just already built into that. But there is a whole scripting language behind Google that allows all of the tools to work together in the way that you want them. So it allows for a lot more customization, I feel like.
Very good. I'm going to show one more thing, which is kind of a bonus at the end. So I have a master CRM cleanup form that I have built and will also include in today's emails that go out. This is if you're trying to clean up your CRM, or you have somebody coming into your team that's bringing their own leads, or you're exporting from one CRM to another. You can export them into this sheet. It also will say, it's got the lead tag, lead type or tag. And it's these here. It's got the source, what the source was, and then it's got the 13 stages that I recommend when you're setting up your CRM, so that because these stages are what's going to trigger your automations and anything that you do when it comes to automations on that. Plus, I have a blank video schedule spreadsheet I'm going to be including. And this is where you can basically storyboard your video content, your social media marketing content. It's got short form reels, long form YouTube, get localized, agent to agent, and video ideation. And then you and your VA can easily follow along on what's going on there. So that will all be bonus stuff coming to you guys that you can use and utilize. I want to thank everybody for coming today. It was great. Really happy that I was able to put these amazing people together for today's event. So thank you, Will. Thank you, Kaylee. Thank you, Andy. And he had to leave. And thank you, everybody, for being here.